Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to episode number 15 of my Slasher Movie Archives. In this video, I will be giving my review for Welcome to Spring Break, also known as Nightmare Beach. And I have multiple release dates for this one that range from 1988 through 1990. And that makes sense to me considering this movie was released under multiple titles. Welcome to Spring Break, the annual migration of the idiot. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. Spring break is usually the time for an old college tradition, hitting the beaches for a little sun, surf, suds, and wet t-shirt contest, a non-stop party of the wildest kind. But this year, there's a difference. This year, one of the local bikers, Ed Diablo, has been given the chair. His last words were, "I swear I will come back for revenge," which could explain the mounting body count of grisly murders being piled up by a terrifying biker with a shocking way of killing his victims. More shocking even than the electric chair. His targets are pretty girls, peeping toms, and anybody who gets in his way. Local authorities like the sadistic police chief, the town's alcoholic doctor, a sinister minister, keep the killings under wraps, while the rest of the town is removing theirs. It's a spine-tingling, thrill-a-minute adventure as Gail, a victim's sister, a football star Skip Banachek, single-mindedly run down the mysterious biker from hell, with the rowdy madness and maximum exposure of spring break happening all around them. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. Welcome to Spring Break oozes with late 80s and early 90s atmosphere. Everything from the hairstyles, the clothes, the cars, the music, and even how people talk to each other totally brought me back to this time period. And I enjoyed every minute of it. And that's not to say that this is a perfect movie, because it most definitely has its own fair share of issues, but this is one that I have always enjoyed. The movie opens up with the execution of a biker named Diablo Santor. He is being executed for the murder of a local girl whose sister is in attendance to witness the execution. Before Diablo Santor is executed, he vows to return and come back to get even, which might suggest that this could potentially be a supernatural slasher. But of course, you would have to watch the movie for yourself to find out. The movie takes place in Florida during spring break on Easter weekend, and we have several different set locations, which include a motel, a bar, back alleyways, and of course the beach. It appears that people, as far as the eye can see, are celebrating and having a good time with drinking and partying and wet t-shirt contests. But for some, the fun is only temporary because there's a killer on the loose who's not such a big fan of all the festivities and is looking to put an end to it, one victim at a time. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the characters we have in Welcome to Spring Break. College quarterback Skip Banachek, his friend Ronnie, and a local girl named Gail who works at a bar are the main characters of this movie's storyline. Skip and Ronnie are looking to have a good time and celebrate their spring break vacation. Skip is down in his spirits because he threw 5 interceptions at the Senior Bowl, causing his team to lose the game. Ronnie is trying to cheer up his friend by suggesting they get brain-dead drunk. But Skip isn't having it, and he seems like a real drag to hang out with. But when Ronnie goes missing, Skip desperately searches for his missing friend, along with Gail, the bartender. Gail has her fair share of unanswered questions because, after witnessing the execution of biker Diablo Santor, the murders continued to happen, and the more Gail and Skip do their own investigating, the more it looks like the police are covering up the murders, and the killer is still on the loose, which means that potentially an innocent man was sentenced and executed for a murder he did not commit. And this leads me to the biker gang that's terrorizing the beach. They're not taking any shit off anybody, and they're out for revenge on the local police department for the execution of their friend they deem to be innocent. And speaking of the police department, John Saxon plays a striker, and he's doing everything he can to keep the beaches open and the bad publicity away from the elected officials. So he is trying to cover up the murders so there's not a panic that could financially be devastating to the local community. So John Saxon's character of Sheriff Stryker ranks up there as one of the dirtiest on-screen cops that you could ever imagine to see in film. And John Saxon is just an interesting actor altogether. He was great in this movie, but he's just one of those actors that can play a really good character, or he could play a really mean-spirited character and you still love him just the same either way. It just seems like he can do no wrong either way. We also have a few notable side characters in this movie, one being this trickster guy that's always playing jokes on people by playing dead or pretending to be a shark out in the water. We also have another guy who steals from everybody he comes in contact with. We also have a girl who is selling her body for a little extra cash on the side. And finally, we have a priest who isn't having any luck at soul saving. Overall, I really enjoyed the characters we have in Welcome to Spring Break. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Skip character, but otherwise, I like all the other characters. I thought the acting in this movie was pretty decent. We have some really good performances, but we also have some not so great performances. So the acting is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. I really like the motorcycle riding killer in this movie. Of course, he is dressed in his motorcycle riding gear with his leather and his helmet to hide his identity. This movie tries to set up some misdirection on who the killer actually is. Is he a part of the biker gang, or is he the recently executed Diablo Centaur, come back to life for revenge? Or could it be somebody completely different with their own motives? I appreciate the attempt at trying to create mystery for the killer, but I feel like while watching this movie, it's painfully obvious who the killer is. But even with that said, I still enjoy the setup for the killer in this movie. And as far as the kills go in this movie, it has a pretty decent body count, and there's a decent variety of kills. Some of them are creative and unique to this movie. The killer has a thing for electricity, and his bike is set up so he can electrocute his victims. So most of the kills are by electrocution, but we also have a person getting chained up and burned to death. But pretty much all the kills where the killer uses a in-hand weapon are either cutaway kills or happen off screen, or we see the kill reflecting in the biker's motorcycle helmet. So that was pretty cool. Overall, I really enjoyed Welcome to Spring Break. It's definitely one that I will revisit from time to time. It's a fun movie to watch around this time of year, with it taking place on spring break and Easter weekend. IMDb give it a 5.4. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. So please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Welcome to Spring Break, also known as Nightmare Beach, or just let me know what you think about my review. And as always, I would like to thank you all for watching.